Today we are going to talk about India's first practicing lady doctor, Dr. Rukhmabai Raut. She lead in the field of medicine and one amongst pioneers of women's rights in India when India was under the British rule in 19th century when social reform movement just started. She was born in Bombay on 22nd November 1864. At the very young age, she lost her father and lived with her mother and her stepfather. Her stepfather inspired her a lot and she wanted to become just like him, a doctor. But due to the social practices of that time, she was married off at very young age. The age is the age was 11 years old and she was married to Dadaji Bikaji. But as but she lived with her mother at that time. And when she understood the concept of the marriage, she refused to live with Dadaji Bikaji because she thought that no one can compel a woman, no one can force a woman to be in a marriage, be in a marriage, to become a part of the marriage if she doesn't want to. So she refused to live with him, and then Dadaji Bikaji knocked the door of Bombay High Court in 1884 for the first time. He filed a case against Rukhmabai Raut under restitution of conjugal rights. At first, the verdict was in favor of Rukhmabai Raut, but once again, Bikaji filed a case in 1887, and then the verdict was against Rukhmabai Rawat, and the verdict was either she had she had to live with him or face imprisonment of 6 months. She stood on her ground and accepted 6 months of imprisonment instead of living with Bikaji. But then the case was so important and the case was so, I can say that the case was so engaging to the people, because at that time society, the people doesn't think about this, that women have right to refuse to live in the marriage. So the case started a debate in India as well as in England. So Queen Victoria herself overruled the judgment, and Rukhmabai Raut didn't have to face the imprisonment. And in the meantime, Rukhmabai Raut also wrote letters to the Times of India under a pseudonym, a Hindu lady, and describing a miserable condition of women in India at that time. She was first practicing lady doctor and and done her MBBS from London School of Medicine for Women. Then she came back to India and started her own hospital in Surat for women and the children. But the journey was not so pleasant because there were very large amount of the people who was against her, who were against her, and doesn't accept and didn't accept the fact that a woman has so much right, a woman has so much voice, that she could live the life that she wanted. So many voices was against her, but under this condition, she opened a hospital in Surat, and she played a very crucial role in 1896 epidemic plague epidemic and in drought in 1897. And due to her contribution, she awarded with Kesari Hind. she was so dedicated toward her work, contribute in the field of medicine under the until she reached the age of 96. So at the very last moment, she contribute in the hospital toward the people, and she also vocal about the women's right in India, and her contribution was reflected in Age of Consent Act 1981. We need to acknowledge her contribution because freedom fighters and social reformers so oppose that kind of act, such as Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Bal Gangadhar Tilak opposed Consent Act of 1891. She also wrote about the women's right and miserable life of women, and she writes a paper about the Parda system. Whenever I listen or read such kind of stories, when people go against the whole society to make their point, to started a revolutionary movement, and that started from that individual. I remember a few lines of Martin Luther King, as you may be 38 years old, as I happen to be, and one day some great opportunities stand before you and calls you to stand up for great principles, some great issues, some great cause, and you refuse to do that because you are afraid. You refuse to do it because you do not, because you want to live longer. You are afraid that you will lose your job, or you are afraid that you will criticize, or you will be lose your popularity, or you are afraid that somebody will stab you or shoot you or bomb your house, so you refuse to take this stand. Well, you may go on and live until you are 90, but you are just as dead as 38 as you would be at 90, and the cessation of breathing in your life is but belated announcement of earlier death of the spirit. Thank you.